if any creator have a little coding skill, creating Gepetto world will not be hard.
It kind of sounded like advertisement, but
Hello, my name is Eunbin. I'm a software engineer in content production team at Navergy. Today we are here to introduce how we develop Neon Party World for Gepetto creator.
Pleased to meet you. My name is Moonhwan. Today's topic, Neon Party, was my first big project since I joined the team. My main role was making things happen with Unity Engine and Gepetto script. Right now, I'm working on different projects while keep updating on Neon Party as well.
Hello all, and my name is Hyun. Actually, I'm working as a kind of producer and then some of the lead of the content team. And then we're kind of excited to actually share with our thought about what the process looks like. Now, actually, we can see, very beautiful image from all those Gepetto that what we've been, kind of searching from the original research. So the main idea is we try to kind of find the newer visual language for the neon map, especially. And that's actually one area that we kind of the first thing that we identify is, those kind of neon feeling is going to be very viral and a vibe on it. And we'd like to incorporate with the latest technology for the rendering for our map. And then after that, and then we start to kind of visualize it. Some crazy, like a DJ dude, actually have millions of dollars house on it, and it has his own stage, and he tried to kind of show up some of area for the guest. So this is one of the images that we kind of inspired originally.
Hyun, what did you consider when you designed the space? How could you design the flow of traffic in the map?
Probably, this is an early stage of prototype design that we've been working on. There is not much clearance about what they mean by the entry point. So we started building the small bit of an entry alley that what we can do. And then later on, we start to identify what type of visual element could be interesting to us to transport to the different world out there. So that what we call the white room actually looks like a completely different experience become. So that this actually using the different type of rendering technique to give the different look of it, basically.
Okay. Can I say something?
Yeah, you can follow it. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Me and my developer colleagues have somewhat different goal to achieve through this project. Gepetto script was relatively new back then, and we can say there weren't many contents. So in a way, Neon Party, I think, was one of the first attempts to create a world that is not a game, that you can dive in, walk around freely, and chat with each other, interact with many different 3D objects, use gestures, dance, take pictures and recording, and much more. However, our users were already used to these features, and so we had big shoes to fill, I guess.
I heard that you tried to create a unique look development for this world, which is totally different from the previous Gepetto world. Could you expand on this?
All right. So that's actually one of the first challenging for us in our entire team, because we don't have any accessibility for the lighting feature that is going to be working with the post-processing. So we try to create a very small scene and try to place some object that based upon design we originally had.
Post-processing, you mentioned, is one of the great features from Unity that can still be utilized when creating worlds with Gepetto script.
Yeah. This is one of the examples that we also tried out to see what is it feeling like with a neon, environment that might be excited to the user. This is one of the image that we created originally, and then makes really people excited about using this neon feature. Even later on, actually, we play with some of the material that we believe that could be much nicer, but at the end, we decided not to using it for many different reasons. But at least it gives the ability for us to see what we can do and what the future we can actually do, making looks much better.
Cool.
Yeah.
Do we talk about NPC?
Yeah, I mean, NPC is the one other kind, but the one other thing that you guys notice that whenever you imagine the party, and then, probably you're going to reach a lot of people within. Early test actually what we made, as you see, we just tried to copy the one character and spanning multiple location with a different, later on, you're going to see the different scale and different, placement and different speed of the character. So the interesting part is none of them actually running by animation data itself. So that gives a lot of freedom for us to utilize it, handle those animation by the shader graph level. So that basically we store the animation originally and convert into texture, and then those texture can be triggered by the older shader technique. And then second stage, later on, we start to realize it is, the previous character might actually fully like support the what it looks. So we start to kind of, create our avatar with a much more optimized way. So as you notice, our bad character, what we call, is actually doesn't have a face actually. So because of we believe that those faces kind of cost too much. So we try to cut down a lot of more like create a small bit of LOD, like level of detail characters, so that we can actually run those things a little bit more efficiently. But it turns out to be, it looks a little bit freaky. So later on, we try to combine the two different techniques that, what body parts can be usable by the vertex technique, but still we're using the regular animation technique for the face so that we can combine those things at the same time.
Now, why don't we talk about development of Neon Party world? Can you introduce the sample world which is created with the Gepetto script?
Of course. On day one, after I clicked new project button in Unity editor, all I could see was my Gepetto character walking around alone on empty ground. You guys know that, right?
Mm-hmm.
But it doesn't mean that I had to build and program everything from scratch. A lot of functions are already built and they come with Gepetto script package. Many useful APIs are already provided, and there are many more in development and will eventually be publicly released so that you can focus on what's more important. This is the Gepetto Studios community and repository for the called Gepetto Multiplay example. They're open to everybody, so check them out and you'll see where to begin. You'll be able to create a super cool 3D world, I guess, and you'll see a lot of people around the world enjoying your creation.
The photo game is an experience-based game where a camera appears to take a picture of a place randomly, and the picture is going to be displayed on the screen in the dancing room. While we testing the game, we found out that Syncom client was breaking for various reasons. For example, network status, lagging on the phone when user switching the app, and also found another critical reason, which was any player couldn't join the game until it ended if the player newly entered the room in process. After having found this issue, we set 5 game status in server, which are finishing games, starting games, starting timer for taking a picture, display all pictures. And then the server broadcasts each game status to all clients. So the sync will not be bothered by any client situation.
So in Neon Party, we have 4 different rooms where different genre of music are being played. In each room, we placed cube colliders so that we can find out how close the users were to a particular room. As a result, we were able to make fade in, fade out kind of effect by controlling the volume based on each character's movement. So what he also put effort into was the bit matching trigger system, which helps artists to make a sequence of visual effects that matches the music. Originally in Unity, you can achieve this by using timeline feature, but at the time we were developing Neon Party, we found a glitch using timeline in the project, so we decided to make our own timeline feature. So there are 2 types of triggers. Type A is for effects that will be played on each bit and bar. So basically, if you pick a certain part of a music and type when it starts and when it ends and how many bars are in the part, with the data, we can have exact timings when each bit and bar starts, so that we can trigger effects on time. Type B is for effects that need to be triggered on specific moments. We use this type B triggers to play a set of light effects and that make like giant models of the DJ shows and hide and shoot projectiles from the DJ booth and more to, make the dance floor more alive. These are some of the examples of light effects. So when typing the time codes of each song, we used time samples, something called time samples, instead of using the actual time in seconds. This will give you more precise timing, even on mobile platform. The numbers are usually very large, depending on the sample rate of the audio file. So don't be surprised. You can check time samples using audio editing software like Audacity, which is this, which is open source software, or Adobe Audition.
It sounds like really great to hear and reminds you a lot of like development actually happened all the stages of development for sure.
Yeah. We made a localization manager in very simple way. Let's take a look at an example. First of all, we assign device language to the language key variable when the Neon Party map starts. For example, like this. And then as you can see here, we have translated strings in different language with a key, and it is JSON format. We make a getter function which returns a string depends on the key, and we set a condition to check whether the key or value is valid or not. Getter function returns a string based on device language, which is assigned to language key variable at the beginning. For instance, if you want to localize the text of the setting button, you add a script to the text object and then let the script call this getter function. And this will set the localized text to the button. Finally, the simple and practical localization system has been created. I hope this example gives you an idea for creating your own new world for global player. For the last, I'd like to hear what was it like to develop the world in Gepetto.
It is actually fairly new to us as well, but one good part of it is fully open and then fully accessible for many different features that we can design. So that actually gives a lot of a great moment for us to sing a little bit more sky high up, like high concept of the development, what we like to do.
What I like the most during the development of Neon Party was the fact that I am creating a world where people around the world can dive in and enjoy. What I also want to say is that Gepetto Script is still new and is being actively developed, which means the developers and tech evangelists are spending a lot of their time listening to what creators are talking about and implementing the features that creators actually want and need to make their games and worlds more fun and enjoyable, and at the same time make the process of development more convenient. It kind of sounded like advertisement, but
Now we dismiss this presentation. Today we talk about how we develop Neon Party World with Moonwan and Hyun. I wish this presentation can inspire many creators, including you. Thank you.
All right. It was my pleasure to be here. Thank you.